It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crack Crown, episode 12 of Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by four wonderful players, Josh, Dot, Jason, and Mark. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Howdy.
Hello.
It's been a few weeks. We had to do a bit of a refresher right before we went live, so thank you, everybody, for being patient. Life has been crazy, but we are back, and I am excited to... We're in, like, the back nine. You know, we're in the back half of this season as everything rolls to its inevitable tense conclusion that I'm excited for. You don't know what it is yet, but I do, and we're on our way. But that's not what today is about. Today we have a bunch of stuff in game that is going to be caught up on, where the players and the coterie themselves find themselves in piece-setting position, as though the chessboard has been finally set up. Vera, Max, everybody in the coterie kind of knows where the rest of the kindred within Gary stand. And as the revelation of the old prince still being alive and wandering around somewhere came to the forefront of their minds, they realized they're kind of fighting a cold war in a strange way, where the potential actions of the old prince are almost ready to bubble to the surface, all while Kevin Jackson is trying to place some sort of stability through Vera into Gary. But we'll see where that all leads as we jump into the game. Before we do that, though, a big thank you and a shill. Thank you guys for supporting us. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. And if you guys want to support us directly, you can do so over at patreon.com/podbynight. There's a bunch of different tiers there that get you a bunch of different extras. You support us directly and allow us to pay our cast, get art, and do all kinds of good stuff for the show. On top of that, you get a little bit of extras, including a super locked secret room over in the Discord that anybody can join. But patrons have a special color to their name and a couple access to secret areas. And at certain tiers, you get access to the community game, which is kind of the background of Gary, Indiana. What are the other kindred up to? And the players in the Discord kind of get to take that role to themselves. And actually, in this episode, we'll see how certain events of a text RP party with Vera went down. It's all part of, like, you know, it keeps Gary feeling alive. You're in the background kind of like making moves and influencing how certain decisions are made, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. And I know Josh has been having a great time. He always cackles evilly every time he's ready to tell me updates about what's going on with the community game.
I get to mess with so many people. It's so much fun.
As we know, that's kind of like your favorite thing to do. Other than that, as I sip my coffee, you can also support us by heading over to our Twitter. There's a link tree there, and there's a link to our shop where you can buy merch, or you can just follow us on Twitter. Tell all your friends, family about the show. There's a bunch they can catch up on. And yeah, just your ears are the most important part, and we appreciate you guys listening. Is there any other big things that I need to cover, or did I get all of it?
I don't think so. I think you got the big
All right,
stuff.
cool. Well, with that in mind, everybody, if we're all good, let's play. So let's rein things in, set the scene. Yep.
A bub update. Yes, a bub
please,
update.
yeah, a
Bub
bub
is
update.
doing well.
Update.
Yes, a bub update. We put something on the Patreon, which we obviously have had a lot of the after shows rolling out, so there's a lot for y'all to catch up on there. But Bub is doing well. He is at home resting. The surgery was a success by all medical standards, and he will be back with us very soon. So we're just letting him have his space to heal, so we get the best bub we can back.
I know he's been itching to get
Bub
back.
date.
So
Yeah, there's our bub update. Yeah, he is itching. He's been, messaging us here and there. A bub date. So there you go.
I'm trying to make it work.
So there you go. There you have it. There's our bub update. He's doing well, and he'll be back very, very soon. But until then, I'm going to put some more fan art in his place, because we have a lot of great, very creepy Duke fan art. Okay, everybody. All right, now we're done.
Excellent.
Max.
All right. Well, with that said, as I put my cat in my lap because he's clawing at me, let's rein things in, set the scene. and see what our coterie is up to. It's the busy shuffling of feet that greet our ears as the screen fades in from black, and in our vision, across the street, we see a familiar, if not run-down, tire shop. The feet shuffling can be heard as doors shut and our vision pulls back, and across the street, a small vehicle has been parked. A familiar face, a Bruja, steps out of the driver's seat, and with him, a few other silhouetted figures as they make their way across the street to the tire shop. Ourselves, we blur again under the ground. Vision fades to black before it fades in, and we see our coterie, all underground having light conversation. Sean just strolled in while Vera has been pacing back and forth, with Max and Robert nearby. Vera has called them all together. It has been a few nights since the coterie has gotten together to share their information of the recently discovered Charlotte, her sister, and the rumors that old Prince Max may still be around. And this tire shop has plans of its own. But in those few nights, Vera disappeared for a little while, letting the coterie know that their business needed to be taken care of, though a certain other kindred, Max himself, also was made aware. And now that the coterie is here together, with Duke out in New York still, Vera, a certain get-together of the kindred of Gary had taken place not too long ago, a move that Vera has been speaking about for a few weeks now. And finally, with the time and the resources, you were able to pull together the varying different groups who seem to all be vying for influence and power in the rundown Gary, as a power vacuum still sort of sits, as they're unaware of the machinations of a hidden away elder prince. But in that, the discovery of these large groups, factions they call themselves, came the revelation that their size and number don't match the word appropriately. They're more a smattering of coteries and acquaintances, all desperate to look powerful and important. And so they assign themselves more important sounding names. The faction of young bravos, a get together of a little kindred who think they have the gumption to push back and claim true freedom, and a few others. And as the rest of the coterie fades in and Vera sees that they've all arrived, her pacing stops. She spins on the ball of her foot, still so elegant and practiced, that second nature of her own past as a ballerina dancer, never ever truly gone. She spins with grace, faces the rest of the coterie with a book in hand and a smile.
These boxes here on the table are a collection of gifts for all of us from the locals.
As she says that, she turns, and behind her, slightly out of focus prior, but now comes into focus for us, is on a small table a pile of random assorted cardboard boxes and other smattering of things, kind of just put over behind her.
Some of them are quaint, but like this one, and I pull out this long black feather quill. I wrote a few thank you notes in blood when it returned to me. This one, it's kind of a decanter. This is supposedly a bottle of blood-infused vodka, some kind of strange Tremere magic. If you're a vodka drinker, we'll have a shot later. But this one, this one, this one's very good.
What do we see Vera grabbing?
I open up more like it's more like a cooler, like a chest, something that keeps something cold. And as I open it up, inside is a very large heart and two fangs.
A gruesome sight, certainly, and a weird gift to be given, no matter kindred or other supernatural. How does the rest of the coterie react to see a heart and fangs sat in a box?
Well, looks like it's regular Secret Santa over here, Vera. I mean,
Yeah, who pissed you
Yes,
off?
well, I don't know who pissed them off, but it was a gift. I believe it is a lupine heart and fangs. It seems that the local alphas, as they call themselves, are a bit interested in the
shall we say, extermination of that problem here in Gary, Indiana. I imagine they acquired these through some important little adventure or something. Either way.
I got to admit, Vera. I mean, I was there with you the whole time. I got to look at all of them. I didn't think that any of them had it in them to take down a lupine.
Well, I know they were all a bit quaint and scared, but I have a feeling that however they acquired it isn't as important as how we're going to use it.
Fair enough.
Well, I, for one, have a recurring nightmare that my heart and fangs will end up in a cooler. So it's a bit disconcerting to me, but now that I've learned it's lupine,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you.
it's quite all right, quite all right. But,
Don't worry, Robert. Don't worry. These guys are okay. They got a pug and everything. I scoped it out when I was cloaked and following Vera. And what do you think about that bag you had me plant up on the
pug?
second floor? You think they're gonna go for it?
Go for what again, Max?
The bag of cash. The bag of cash I stashed on the second floor for you.
Well, yes, of course, the real point of it all, right? So I guess I wined and dined them. They didn't quite believe everything, and that's fine. If I walked into a room, I wouldn't trust me either, so. But I was genuine and honest and gave them a little spiel about how we're not interested in taking over Gary, Indiana, and how we're really just the raven for the prince himself of Chicago who is coming, whether or not they like it. That was a hard pill to swallow in a room full of other kindred who are potentially working against you. It seems they have little family tiffs and whatnot amongst them, all very quaint. But I did come out with a few very key pieces of information. One, this Bravo who followed us home with the pug, very cute. He said, and I quote, "If you find the visionary, burn it. It's not worth it, and you'll be doing yourself a favor." All of them still believe the visionary to be a book.
Right.
Only we know that it is in fact not. But the fact of the matter is, whatever they do know is telling them to run. That whatever that Charlotte girl is or can do, and potentially her connection to the last prince or the ex-prince, is in fact problematic. And I'm going to be honest. We've had our fair share of run-ins with princes and issues in basements, and can we maybe, how do we get around this? I'd like to not.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, burning it would mean I could keep my word.
Wait. When you say burning it, you mean burning her?
Oh yeah, that.
Well,
yeah.
This is before we knew it was a person, of course, but in the metaphorical sense, yes. I would like to do something about it. And regardless if Max thinks she is valuable or not, she potentially is a problem. So
Can we call him Prince Max? Because this is going to get really confusing. So he
We
can
can
be
come up with a
Prince
code
Max, and we got
but
me and
he's
Max
not
Jr.,
Prince.
so that's like 3 Maxes. So
Yeah.
he can be Prince Max, I'll be regular Max, and Max
Max-
Jr. will be Max Jr.
I don't think I've ever asked this before. Is Max short for something? Like, are you Maximus?
No, I assume it's short for something in his case, probably like Maximilian or something fancy.
Oh, we can call him something fancy.
Okay, we'll call him Fancy Pants. Done. Codename established.
All right,
So-
sounds good.
Fancy Pants cares about this girl in the basement, at least enough to keep it there, watching everything. So we can either take it and use her to our advantage, or we can just cut off his resources.
It's probably easier to fight someone that doesn't know what the future holds than someone that's been listening to a bunch of voices yell at them.
Or is it better to follow a future that somebody else is writing for you?
Yes.
He's listening to her, what she says, believing it. If we can get her on our side, who says she can't feed him false information?
I did take a look at the the stuff surrounding her. It's a little bit beyond me, but I mean, the one at the door, that's to keep it silent. Still not sure on the circle she was chained to. If we can get her out of that safely without it, I don't know. Maybe she'll owe us one. That could work.
Yeah, but I mean, her sister kind of seemed interested in keeping her in there, right?
Sister seemed interested in keeping her safe. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Well, I think she'd probably be the best one to ask. I don't think we should go off all half-cocked, willy-nilly whatnot. I think we ought to talk to her. Let her know that we don't want to hurt her sister. And then maybe get her on side.
I
was
tried
thinking
that.
maybe we could figure out what her sister has told Fancy Pants. I want to know what information she's fed Fancy Pants so that we can get a step ahead.
The last thing I'd like to, just as a refresher, as it has been a few weeks, something that we talked about the last time we had a session. Vera, after the party, it would become abundantly clear that there are many, I should say, too many Kindred in Gary for the population it sustains at the moment. Too many people suddenly flooding to look for power, and the kind population, within a few months maybe, might start having some familiar stories running around the streets and people speaking to other people about bizarre parties and experiences they may have had. It's not something that Vera had to worry about in the immediacy, but it is something that I want to make sure Vera knows and has on her mind. It's mostly because all the jobs of Gary are long gone. There's like nobody that lives here. It's a ghost town. Granted, the plan, I believe, was to obviously to reinvest into Gary and draw people back, but that's a future maneuver.
A long-term plan. So the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of cracks in the Kindred population of Gary, Indiana. There are far too many without any kind of structure whatsoever, which means small factions are beginning to take hold. And what comes after that is usually one of two things. One power will arise, or there will be an all-out war, and it will be the last Kindred standing. I have a feeling that the local factions have no idea that Fancy Pants is back. This will, in fact, cause some problems for the plans that they want, which I'm going to very much help them get. They have a direct interest in transferring the power of Gary, Indiana back into the hands of the Kindreds here. Sound familiar? Yes, I know, it's called the Camarilla, but they are interested in their own selection through the process. None of them stood up and blatantly stated anarchy against the Camarilla, but they made it clear that the Camarilla has left them here to rot. And that is not untrue. Jackson cannot waltz in here and take ownership of something that he left in the dumpster for 40 years.
Well, I mean, in his defense, he thought the whole thing was a dumpster.
Yes, as much as you and I understand that, and maybe even Jackson does. The people living in the dumpster have a different feeling about the matter.
Fair enough.
And if we are going to clean up this dumpster, it's not going to be as easy as throwing away a few things in a different place and reorganizing what's inside. We have to get rid of the dumpster. And these people, these Kindred, they don't believe that the Camarilla cares.
Max takes like a long drink of cold congealed blood out of like a battered, discarded McDonald's cup. Just looks up and says,
All he uses saying dumpster like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of shitty
You can
places.
hear as
I
he's
have a
slurping
question,
through
though.
chunks of blood, stopping up the
Oh.
straw just for a moment until he has to suck it. Yeah, there you can kind of.
Why can't we just kill these fucking people? That would solve the population problem real quick.
Well, don't worry, Sean. You and I are on the same page. You see, each of them have their little interest. This group here wants the lupines, that group there wants the SI. This are over here interested in some kind of strange dark magic that's bound to leave them all dead. And the fact of the matter is, we don't have to stop any of them from doing what they want to do. All we have to do is get the Camarilla to provide the resources. They become the frontline soldiers, they fight our battles for us, and maybe kill off some of the population. Well, we're at it.
Right.
Natural extinction.
So, what's our move, Vera? Do we just sit back and watch, or get a little more proactive here?
Well, to my surprise, these little kindred of Gary, Indiana had businesses. A few of them, in fact. I say we use the new bank to fund their businesses. For any of them that want the share. And, yes, we sit back and watch it happen. So then in the end, we are, well, still here. With money, resources, businesses, and everything we need to hand over to Jackson. Tell him to leave us the fuck alone.
Sure, but that's all big picture kind of corporate office stuff. What do you got for me? You need any heads cracked?
Possibly.
As Vera says possibly, you're interrupted by the sound of hurried footsteps of a group of folk. And before cautions can be thrown up and a concern that you've been discovered crawls into your mind, a familiar voice mixed with the rest of them, Garrett, is arriving.
Oh, I know the sound of despair and angst anywhere.
As you say that, he
Garrett.
strolls into the room, and behind him a troop of other folk. All right, job done. I got you some new employees. Let me introduce you to Crystal. This right, as he looks over to and then he's got two males with him. This guy, oh fuck, your name was Billy Big Balls. That's this guy right here. Hello, and he gives a smile and a wave.
Wonderful.
So I think Max would have probably obfuscated like.
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
moment, yeah.
Yeah, he is not visible.
And
anymore.
your name, other guy with the long blonde hair. Fuck, sexy saxophone. It's seductive Saxon. That guy. Yeah. So there you go. I got you 2 of 2. I thought it'd be, I did my best. I just went to some strip clubs and offered him some money. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really go to the creme of the creme of Chicago or
Garrett,
nothing.
would you stop talking long enough for me to explain them why they're standing in my basement? This is Garrett. He's going to be your new boss. This is a soon-to-be tire shop. I'm going to offer you a chance to do something else with your life and make twice as much money doing it.
The 4 of them are looking around. They look very confused as to where they are, what they're looking at, until one leans down. It's the one that went by Billy Big Balls. And he leans into Garrett a little bit, and he says something under his breath. And Garrett just kind of waves him down. Yeah, later. Looks back to you. Sorry, I told them that way we're going to take them to their a place that wants to employ them. I didn't think they thought this is where we would be, but hey, here we are.
Well, this is where honesty is important, Garrett.
I didn't tell a lie.
All I need are the basics. Change tires, a little bit of oil change here and there. But the most of this place is a look, don't touch vibe, if you get what I mean. I want you to do what you did at your last job, but here, in a tight jumpsuit, flirting with 40-year-old women and men who need their tires changed.
So this isn't like a strip club?
This is like a strip club for your tires.
And you're paying us a lot of money?
Oh, you paid at your last job.
Mike has no idea how strippers are paid. So I don't know how tips. I don't know.
What?
I'll take over here.
Thank you very much. I've never gone to a strip club in my life, so I don't know. I know you throw money.
Mike bailing out, disappearing.
Yeah, somebody else. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do at a strip club. So they answer a typical strip club answer. But honestly, is there hourly?
Maybe a few $1,000s a week.
Okay, yeah, it's all tips, right? It's all how much they make in tips. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So they depends on the night and.
So instead of worrying about tips and whether or not you're going to make it the same amount you made the night before, why don't I pay you a proper salary, more than you ever make actually changing tires?
Out of curiosity, is Vera attempting to persuade them with or without Kindred influence?
I haven't had a resort to Kindred influence yet. We'll just take.
But since they are mortals, if you decided to say use awe, they would automatically fail.
They would automatically fail.
All abilities work on mortals instantaneously.
Well, between the 2 extra dice she'd get for just her regular looks alone, and then her charisma, I don't know that Vera would need
Then
to
make me
roll, but I
a
can.
charisma persuasion check, please.
So
Yeah,
6.
6 total. And you could re-roll 3 more if you wanted to burn willpower, but I'm not sure if you care enough to burn willpower.
No, I don't, she's not that concerned. Look, there are other people that are beautiful people that'll take her up on this job if these
No,
people
absolutely.
don't want
But 6 successes is a enormous amount of success. And as you speak to them, you watch their not hardened exteriors, but some of the nervous tics they may have, their eyes darting around the room, a bit of a tense posture, slowly begin to loosen. They lift some weight off of a foot and lean on one, while to most that's such a simple act. For you, it's easy for your ear to pick up on them beginning to relax. And as you explain the job and most importantly explain how much money they're be making, the response rather is rather pleasant. Crystal and Cristal both look to you, and she's like, well, I can change tires, no problem. And yeah, I changed my dad's oil. He taught me how to do that forever ago. And the 2 guys look over, is like, well, yeah, I can change tires too. What is it? Just oil changes and tire changes? I can wash a car.
Yes, and I want you to like wash a few windows and look handsome.
And Seductive Saxon is like, oh, my dad made me wash his cars all the time as a kid.
This is going to work out beautifully. The 4 of you are hired.
When do we start?
I'll bring somebody in to train you well. Give us a few weeks to finish getting the facility together. That'll give you some time to get your affairs in orders and quit your other
As you say
job.
that, they all eyes go to Garrett as they look a bit disgruntled, and Garrett looks around a little nervous, like, I may have told them to quit their jobs tonight.
Great. Then I guess you could start tomorrow, but there won't be any tires to change. You can help clean this place up.
Thank God. Okay, cool. All right, well, my job's done. I will see you all, my lovely employees, tomorrow. I am your new management, I guess. I'm working for you, Vera, now, I suppose.
Yes. Well, for us.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is, manager here is Sean until he finds a better replacement.
You're working for us
Right,
for
mate.
now. One day, Garrett, you and I will be alone, when no one can hear you. And then we shall see if you work for us any longer.
The laissez-faire attitude and relaxed posture of Garrett dissipates. His eyes are unable to break away from Robert's. And you watch Robert as the look on his face goes from casual and confident to a deep, horrifying terror looking into your eyes. He doesn't say much else. And it isn't until you break eye contact with him that he... Okay, yeah. Okay,
One last thing. Crystal and Cristal, really?
Yeah, listen, I didn't give them their names, okay? Garrett, quickly tries to, gather himself and leave hurriedly.
Garrett, I need you to pick up a delivery tomorrow. Your new uniforms are in.
I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. And he hurries out down the hallway. The other four that remain kind of mingle a bit, and eventually Cristal speaks up. Can we go? Do we need to stay, or are we good?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're all for the night. No,
Just-
you know what? Yes, Sean.
I'm probably going to be hanging around the tire shop. If you need anything, call me. I'm Sean. And also, I have a request. Crystal or Crystal, you're both basically turned up wearing the same thing kind of deal. So one of you has to change.
All right, that's fine.
I'm assuming it's not your real name.
No,
If it's
no,
your real
no,
name,
no,
then,
no.
you know,
She's like,
do
I've got
whatever.
I'll use a different one. Don't worry about it. That was Crystal speaking. As the conversation kind of comes to a close, you see Billy Big Balls lean into one of the girls and go, "Did he give you the goosebumps, or is it just me?" And they kind of quietly hurry off down the hall as they have slight conversation before eventually leaving.
As they leave, Max just sort of reappears
ripples
in the same
back
spot.
into
He
existence.
he didn't need to rouse because he wasn't
Yep.
moving around. So he's like, okay, so them's the no employees, huh?
Yes, you were asking what you could do. In fact, we're going to need security. Maybe 2 gentlemen. I'm going to actually need you at the bank when it's ready to go, not here watching the car wash, if you know what I mean.
I get you. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
So we could
But,
use a few, security types.
right. But you want me to get them? I mean,
You know better than I.
well, sure, I guess I could talk to some of the locals, but I ain't gonna be too good at negotiating, regular humans getting hired, right? For that, you probably want to get Robert as somebody.
Do we want Robert to do that?
Precisely. Robert is intimidating in his own right.
Yeah, he
But,
just scared the crap out of Garrett.
Yeah,
He's
that was a
also
nice
very
move. I like
charming
that.
when
Yeah.
he needs to be. So maybe it is a tag team. I thought with the connection with the local Nosferatu, you may know a security group or maybe
Not
a
yet.
local gang that needs a good, better path.
I might be able to talk to some of the local Nas, but then we run into the same problem. They can't actually be seen either, right? If you want some guys who are,
Well,
shall we
that's
say, a
when
little more
Robert-
surreptitious, then
Well, that's when Robert comes in. Once we identify a potential group, Robert can wheel and deal and charm them into
Yes, of course.
maybe some help.
Mathis, Vera is basically looking for local toughs to hire. Now, obviously, Max has some contact in the local NOS community.
Certainly.
But if we want guards that can actually be seen and serve as a visible deterrent,
Are you
then
looking for?
You're probably going to want.
Do you want Kindred or Kind?
I think we're talking kind, like maybe 2 levels, like kind.
Yeah,
and
like I'm
Kindred?
thinking, like, are there some local, like,
Yeah, there's local
roughnecks or groups
roughnecks.
that we could just be like,
you could get
yeah.
bouncers at some of the seedier places and offer them a second gig. There's plenty of options and opportunity to pull Kind in to protect it. And against other Kind threats and the stuff, yeah, they're totally fine. It's just with Kind protection comes the weakness of not being able to stop Kindred very well.
Sure.
Well, we're not really doing our real business out of
I
here,
mean,
so
yeah,
it shouldn't
exactly,
matter.
correct.
It's just
Yeah.
a cover, and if they die, they
100%.
die.
That's something that Max could have gotten within half a night's contact of one local Nosferatu, a good handful of people that are, you pay them enough money and they'll fucking do anything.
Sure. Well, basically, that information Max will hand
Absolutely.
over. And if we're also looking for a level of NOS protection, then Max just lets everybody know,
okay, I'm going to try to set up another meet with some of the local Nas. Might even get a little closer to the man on top, if you know what I mean. He does seem
That
a
would
little...
be very helpful.
He seems a little cagey, though. I don't know. I wouldn't expect that I'm going to see him the day after tomorrow or nothing, but never hurts
Well,
to start making some inroads.
we can't rush the process. When he makes himself known, I would be interested if he has any idea that Fancy Pants is in town. If he's been
Yeah.
here a very long time, he may have some information about what happened in the past and why he might have faked his own death.
Well, from what I gather, he's pretty damn old, so that's a good bet. All right.
Let's get what information we can out of him and hope for the best.
All right, Robert, here's the info I got as far as rounding up some local muscleheads. I'll see what the Nas have to say. You want me to do that tonight?
No
The
time
sooner
like
the
the
better.
present.
Fair enough.
Always taking my words.
I'm
Yes,
gonna
Robert's right. The sooner the better.
I'm gonna grab Adelaide, take her with me.
It sounds good. It's going to be a few days of construction and some time well spent before we can get it all together. But the last thing, the money that I left behind at the party.
The
Well,
stuff
you
you
left
had.
behind at the party.
Yeah, I stashed it, like you said, second floor.
I don't know if they found it. I imagine they scoured the house at some point, or somebody did. I'm waiting to
Eh.
hear back exactly what they have done with it. Honestly, my interest lied entirely in finding out of whether or not they were going to fight over a measly $5,000. And if they really wanted this council.
I tried to make it pretty obvious where I left it. Unless they're total boobs, they should have stumbled across it.
Well, you should have seen the room.
I
But
did.
here's to hoping they found it. If not, there's $5,000 sitting in an abandoned home in the middle of the suburbs, so. Sean,
Yeah.
in your walkabout, Gary, a few nights ago, you had mentioned wanting to maybe find some information about running drugs in and out of the city.
Yeah.
Did you find out any information?
I am at the bottom of the pyramid. I'll level with you. I do want to find some stuff, but basically, I know where to get a shit ton of drugs all over town. I know who's selling them, but that's mostly it. Who's selling them to them? That's what I really want to know.
I would also want to know that as well. My thought is actually if they have the resources to move things in and out of Gary, Indiana, then they might have information on the weapons coming in and out of Gary, Indiana.
That
Does
could help.
Sean have a plan? Does Sean, so I'm inferring correctly, is there an idea perhaps to perhaps rough up, interrogate one of the drug dealers and climb up the chain as to where it's going? Or does Sean have a different idea?
No, that's pretty much Sean's
Yeah, that's
plan.
kind of what I figured. I just want to make sure I figured that right. Like Sean, that's how Sean operates. At this point,
Yeah,
out
more or
of
less.
curiosity, does the coterie kind of slowly begin to scatter about for their each individual's nightly particular, you could call it an assignment, I suppose.
I pour a round of blood-infused vodka.
Hmm.
Because we
Yeah.
have it. Might as
Everybody,
well.
please rouse the blood for
Cheers.
me. Oh no, is it blood infused vodka or is it vodka
It's blood
infused or is it
infused, so
vodka
I-
infused blood?
It's blood-infused vodka. So it's vodka first
So
and it has blood
rouse me,
infused into it.
please, as you will need to blush of life to swallow it down.
Sean is 3.
Well, you could decline the drink.
He'll hold
Sure.
one, but you won't down it.
Oh my God, Vera, you
If Vera-
definitely
Vera
didn't
will
get
do
hungry
yours
as
as
you
well.
rolled.
Yeah.
3 for me. Max does not get hungrier either. Does Robert take some blood infused vodka? You're muted, I think.
Oh, I had it backwards. Chad is correcting me. It is vodka infused.
Oh, then I don't
blood.
need rouse checks.
We don't
No.
need
Okay.
the
In
rouse
fact,
check.
it'll give you,
Well-
well, no, if you're only taking a shot, it won't give you a hunger. It won't give you a hunger back, but you'll be able to feel, for the most part, the way it works for those who may be listening. Kindred have been cursed with the inability to take in human food. If they attempt to do so, all they taste is dirt and ash in their mouth, and they immediately retch. Their body and their beast instinctively reject anything that is not kindred or kine vitae. And the vitae carries with it a rich flavor that is almost addicting to kindred. However, there are ways around it, and this is one of them. Taking, for instance, a drunk individual on the streets and imbibing their blood also would give you the alcohol within that blood and give you the closest you can get to feeling drunk again. And the same follows for those who may be on an amphetamine or anything else, any other narcotic. You can still taste and even feel echoes of those effects through the blood. And so as you drink this vodka-infused blood, as the blood itself coats your tongue and rolls around the back of it like a fine wine before you swallow it down, you have that familiar burn, almost like an echo of what it used to feel like. No, it's not nearly as strong, nor is it not nearly as intense as it was when you were once alive. But to feel even an eminent or echo of that is something you haven't had in a long time. And this, if I remember correctly, is proper Russian vodka that you were given, that this has been infused with.
Vera's very happy
So it
about
is
it. That
Not
burn.
only can you imbibe it without retching, but you also get just a hint of that alcohol infused into that vitae. And I imagine for a few of you in the room, it is a gift that is hard to is often not is very rare to come by.
It's a small gift, but a very, very satisfying one.
Ain't half bad. Maybe I'll take one for the road too.
As he takes another quick shot of the vodka.
Do you reckon it'd go well with Red Bull?
Why would you put what?
Red
What is
Red Bull. Energy drink.
Why
It's a mixer.
do
You don't
dare
have vodka on its own.
take
That's gross.
this vodka with the energy drink? Oh, Sean. Well, cheers, everybody.
And then everybody
Cheers.
raises their shot glasses and tips it back. And everybody scatters to the winds for their own odds and ends. Before we do that, is there any conversations before I cut to the scene that I'd like to? Between individual kindreds between the code rimmers that anybody wants to have privately with each other, or is everybody just ready to kind of scatter to the winds for the evening? Everybody good? Okay.
I think so.
I was gonna ask. I don't know if this is a full conversation,
it doesn't
but
matter.
Sean was gonna ask Robert why. Yeah, he like corners him at the exit. Is like, Robert, do you just not like Garrett? Is that
No,
I mean,
I do not. I do not like him. I do not trust him. Everywhere we've gone in this godforsaken city, if you want to call it that, he always seems to turn up at the precise moment when we don't need him to be there. And I just feel that there's more to him than that. And there's something sinister lurking underneath, and I can see through his veil.
Yeah. Did you notice how when I
Max,
said
Sean,
Yeah.
as you're having this conversation, all of a sudden Max's voice, as he just ripples into existence merely like 6 inches from you.
Hey, did you
Haven't done that in a
notice how
while.
when I said, are there any heads that need cracking? And then he showed up right away? I call that foreshadowing.
And then
Yeah,
he
it's-
disappears again.
Did we see Sean just like jump for a minute as that happened?
Oh yeah. He's like, that has not happened in a very long time. He's getting better. I'm proud.
That was like a instant hype, man. That was awesome.
Robert, out of curiosity, where are you headed this evening in particular? Or do you linger around the tire shop? Is there anywhere he would take himself?
Well, I think that he would want to try to pursue those ruffians
Absolutely.
that we need.
So Robert in his wisdom hits the streets of Gary with the intent of finding some ne'er-do-wells who will take $1 to protect this tire shop when the group of you are sleeping, and obviously to just maintain the ruse that this tire shop is nothing more than a stripper tire shop and holds nothing else. And as you leave for the evening, strolling down Gary, and you get eyeballs from people here, you walk by an alley and somebody's stumbling and he might be mugging somebody, but I'm not entirely sure Robert gives enough of a shit to stop it, as Gary is filled with people being violent with one another. At one point, you walk by a dumpster with trash bags laying against it that haven't been taken in God knows how long, and soon enough, a rat comes scurrying out, knocking a can over and scurrying into a nearby crack in a wall. And as Robert strolls, and certainly there's a few handful of mortals that might be good enough for the job, but none that really fit exactly the bare minimum you're looking for, Robert. Behind you, not too far away, you can hear a voice call out to you. It's a young man's voice initially, and it simply says, "Hey, Bob? Are you Bob?"
Maybe. Who are you?
As Robert spins around, you do see a young gentleman with short, very black hair, really bushy eyebrows, and a 5 o'clock shadow, while he's just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. He doesn't move to a jog or a run. He maintains a very steady walk as he walks up to you and then stops a few feet away. He looks you up and down. You fit the description. A message from an old friend. Somebody's looking to hang out and meet with you. And he shrugs. Listen, I don't really know much else. I'm just getting paid to find you, and I was given a couple of blocks to check, and lo and behold, you're the only one that seems to match it. So,
Who paid you to find me?
oh God, I probably should ask for his name. Didn't ask for his name, just took the money.
Wow, you're terrible.
I got a brother to feed, and I didn't want to ask.
Where's this person?
Oh, and he turns back. If you go 3 blocks that way, there's the Bare Knee. It's a brand new pop-up stripper bar. It's not great. They're over that way.
Bare knee. And so what is this message?
An old friend is
enlighten
looking
me.
to talk to you. That's all he said.
And he's at the bare knee.
At the bare knee. Yeah. Listen.
Fine, I head to the bare knee.
Do you just like walk by him wordlessly?
I ignore him and just continue.
Oh yeah, all right,
walk
yeah.
upon
You
my
have
way.
all right, have a good night. Jesus, what a fucking asshole. And he begins to stroll away. Eventually, we hard cut. We're inside a seedy little bar with the dim orange lights and the air of thick smoke that kind of hangs over everything. Robert strolls into the front door and around a corner before you are greeted with a similar vision. There's a handful of what you would guess call clientele sat amongst the scattered tables, all of different sorts. And as you look around, you don't recognize a damn one of them. No one looks like an old friend. No one looks like they're looking at you or waving you over. You're simply sat there staring at a half-empty room with a performer, a dancer up on stage, doing what you can to pull as much money as you can from these folk. And you are left there awkwardly for maybe 30 or so seconds. Is there anything Robert would do? I'm just getting into the head of Robert as he's standing in this kind of club awkwardly for a bit. Does he just kind of look around and wait, or does he proactively take a seat somewhere? Does he leave?
He leaves.
Excellent.
He looks around, sees no one approaches him. He leaves. He walks outside.
Within 30 seconds, Robert, seeing nobody he's familiar with and not wanting to waste his time, turns to leave the bare knee. And as you step out of the bare knee and take a left to leave, you hear a voice behind you again. This time a male, but not the younger one from before. I just had to make sure it was you. Before you turn around, Robert, I need from you a wits awareness check, sorry. Ooh, that's only is that just an awareness? You rolled 2 successes on 2 dice, which is hilarious, which is great. As that voice, that gruff, deep voice echoes that from behind you, as saying that he had to be sure it was you. Robert stops in his tracks. There's a moment where we can see a close-up of his face as a look of recognition crawls across before he quickly turns around. And what you see, just a foot behind you, is a face you haven't seen for near on 100 or so years. This is old Prince Max, the once Prince of Chicago. And that's what we'll pick up next week for the next episode of Crack Crown.